Father, I need your help urgently.
You? I recognize you. You're the Skelett's blacksmith's son.
Yes, that I am.
I'm sorry. What did you want?
It may sound strange, but I need you to go back to St. James. The locals need their spiritual shepherd.
No, certainly not, my boy. That's one place I shan't be going back to.
Why? It is your parish, after all.
A parish that's little but a ruin these days. And besides, God forgive me, but I'm afraid. All kinds of ruffians are on the rampage around Skelet's.
It isn't completely safe, but most of them are gone.
As my father used to say, why take the risk?
How did you manage to get out of Skelet's?
I didn't. I wasn't there during the raid. I was here at Sasau for confession.
And why aren't you with our folks at Ratai? What if Sir Radzig has need of you?
Look, here I'm an honored guest and well cared for. In Ratai there's hardly room enough for the refugees already there. And what's more, the parish priest doesn't like me, which happens to be mutual. The last thing I want to be doing is haggling with him over where I can sleep or how many slices of bread I'm allowed to eat.
He certainly isn't known for being generous. Don't you feel any shame? Think of all those Christians who faced death and never betrayed their faith.
That's something else entirely.
No, it's not. They weren't afraid to face death, and you're squirming at the thought of some slight danger.
Haven't you seen how they ransacked the place? Does that seem slight to you? Well, not to me.
The Cumans are gone, but the townsfolk won't come back. And why should they, when the man who ought to set an example, the one they look up to, is shitting himself?
I am ashamed. More than you can imagine, but not quite enough to get myself killed for it. I'm a man of the cloth, not a man at arms. So, I shall politely decline your offer. May the Lord watch over you.
Father, when do you plan to return to St. James?
I beg your pardon. Why do you ask, my boy?
Your housekeeper, Agnes, is in Ratai and doesn't want to work for anyone else. She's waiting for your return.
So she survived. Thank the Lord. I prayed for her and all who suffered, but I'm not going back. Tell her I appreciate her concern, but to look out for herself now. May the Lord watch over you.
May the souls of all the faithful departed through the most... God's blessing.
I asked around in Sasau. Father Francis is doing well in Sasau. He has no plans to return to St. James anytime soon.
You talked to him? How is he doing? Doesn't he need his cassock fixed? He's always tearing it. There isn't a pew or a step he hasn't tripped over at one time or another.
I asked the abbot. He said they have work for him elsewhere and that St. James will have to wait.
Wait? I remember the last time. We had to go to Sasau for almost 2 years. I probably won't even live that long.
That won't be that bad. Meanwhile, you can work at Master Hagen's house and who knows? You might even find you like it.
You're probably right. What else can I do at my age? And the presbytery is too big for one woman alone.
So you agree you'll go and work for Hagen?
Isn't that what I just said? I'll go and do housekeeping for him. Good luck then.
God be with you. What can I do for you?
I chose a cook as well. Should I tell you or go to Hagen?
Tell me who you chose, and I'll take care of it.
I chose old Agnes for the cook's job. I had a job convincing her, but it was worth it. She's the best cook around.
Glad to hear it. I'll have to drop in on Hagen for lunch sometime.
Master Bailiff, is there anything of interest going on here?
Nothing of interest to me, thank Christ. Good luck, then.
Henry! Hey!
I can't believe it. We've known each other our whole lives, near enough. Henry!
I'm glad to see you.
Matthew! Fritz! You're alive!
Of course we're alive.
You can't get rid of us that easily.
I'm almost surprised how happy I am to see the pair of you are all right.
We are now, but we barely made it.
Yeah, it was hard. Fritz ran like a little girl.
Really?
Bollocks! Bloody joker.
Tell us what happened to you.
They gave me a pretty good thrashing as well. It was only in Rattay that I got back in my right mind.
And I see you're not doing too badly for yourself. What are you up to?
Right now, I'm a squire for Sir Radzig.
I see you've worked your way up.
And how are you two getting by?
It's shit.
You said it. We're still chopped off to bits. Owe the monastery a bundle. And there's no work here.
Not for anyone with more than half a brain, anyway.
No one's interested in two good carpenters in Sasau.
No one.
And we looked everywhere.
Hey, you wouldn't happen to know of anything?
It will really help us out right now.
Well, I can ask around, but I'm not promising anything.
Thanks, Henry.
We'll pay off the debt. Don't you worry.
And where would they hire you to?
Well, we were carpenters in the mines, so wherever they work with wood, I suppose. Forget about construction. After Skalitz, no one will be building for a long time. Just here in Sasau, and they don't want us here. The best chance we have is to work at a mill. People always have to eat. Ideally, we're looking for a job that pays a lot and doesn't require much work.
Good day, Henry.
What other neighbours of ours made it?
Your hunker's in the monastery. That girl really helped us out. That's about all we know. When we ran for it, we helped Teresa, but who knows where she is now? We got separated.
I owe my life to Teresa. She hauled me unconscious to the mill in Rattay and nursed me back to health.
I'm glad she survived. Since you know her so well, why not try asking her if she knows about any work? Bye.
My humble greetings.
You've been working at the mill for a while now, haven't you?
Pretty long. Why'd you ask?
I heard there's a possibility of finding work here for two talented carpenters.
That depends on how talented they are.
I'd say they're talented enough.
We'll soon see. But go talk to the miller about it, all right?
Of course. Is the miller very strict?
The miller isn't, but his foreman doesn't give the workers anything for free, besides kicks and insults.
Well, hopefully that won't happen. They're good men.
I'll be happy if that's true. Take care.
I hope I can...
Is there any work here for carpenters?
I don't need any carpenters. God be with you.
Good day to you.
Teresa, the millmaid, sent me. She said you could use some help.
Some extra pairs of hands would be useful. What do you have in mind?
My friends, two survivors of Skalitz, are looking for work.
And why should I take them?
They're experienced carpenters.
Oh, why not? Carpenters would be helpful. There's a lot of work here at the mill, and I'm not as spry as I used to be. Thomas, my foreman, tries his best, but he ain't up to that kind of work. But they aren't idlers and drunks, are they? I only take in people who are willing to do hard, honest work.
Miller, you know me. Everyone around here knows me. And you also probably know that I work for Sir Radzig Cobbler.
Really?
Really? And I'll be very grateful if you do this for me. I know how to reward those who help me.
I know. People around here know. Tell them I'll give them a chance. We'll talk about pay and a roof over their heads when they get here. Take care now.
Good day, Henry.
I'd like you to...
Certainly.
I'm interested...
Wouldn't you rather...
Well, the miller and Ledechko would be happy to meet you.
You really found work for us?
Of course. I couldn't bear to look at those sour faces of yours a moment longer.
Thanks, Henry. Only...
What?
The reward we talked about, well, we haven't got 2 groschen to rub together.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. You'll pay me when you have it.
That we will. Stop by and visit us in a week. We'll pay you back as soon as we get our first wage. God be with you.
Hey, what?
The monastery wants you to pay for treatment. That doesn't sound right.
Leave it be, Howell.
I won't. What happened?
We might have pummeled his face. But don't get involved, Henry. We'll settle it on our own.
Wait, who exactly did you pummel?
Well, he kept on bothering us and... in a nutshell, it was his fault and we're not going to talk about it anymore.
But couldn't there be a way to settle it? Maybe he'd let you off the...
There isn't.
But don't be a twat, Fritz. The 2 of you are up to your necks in shit, and you're gonna play tough instead of seeing sense.
Go to hell, Henry. You and Elias. You're one as bad as the other.
You're good for nothing, you wretch. I'm not the one who's jobless and almost dying of hunger.
Now you've done it. Hey, twat face.
I want to get...
Certainly.
I'd like to
All right. Now. I'm glad to see...
I want to get back...
Certainly.
I'm interested...
All right. Now.
And who are you?
Brother Elias.
What do you do here?
What I can. I'm just trying to help the Skalitz locals as much as I can.
How long have you been helping here?
Since before the refugees arrived. It was much less crowded back then.
And what do you do here exactly?
Mainly, I help Brother Nicodemus. Occasionally, I keep watch at night in case someone takes a turn for the worse. Sometimes I have to hold the patient down, fetch and carry things.
Do you know anything about healing?
A little. I can manage the basics, but without Brother Nicodemus, I'd never be able to deal with the more difficult cases.
Thank you. I heard you had a fight with Fritz and Matthew.
Heathens.
So it was you they fought with?
Yes, it was me, and I hope I'll never have to see those wastrels again.
They deserve to be ousted, but the debt? How are they ever going to pay it?
I really don't care. Let them live in penury. Brutes.
Isn't that a little unchristian? You wouldn't want personal spite to ruin their lives, would you?
Well, those were just idle threats, really. If they come and apologize, there's always a possibility of forgiveness.
May the Lord watch over you.
What? Hey, what?
About your brawl with Elias. Your best friend settled the matter.
You're serious?
Absolutely. All you have to do is go to him and promise you'll pay the debt somehow.
We won't forget this. On my honour. And I'm really sorry about that fight. I was just going out of my mind. God be with you.
Greetings, Henry.
Are you happy?
It's not worth a damn. If I had any choice, you wouldn't see my heels for dust.
Well, what's happened? Did you two get yourselves into trouble?
A fine friend you are, assuming it's our own bloody fault.
Oh, come on. You know what you two are like. I had to ask.
Well, perhaps with that monk. But now, the foreman's got it in for us. If he could, he'd skin us alive.
Always forcing you to work, is he?
If only. That wouldn't be so awful. But nothing we do is good enough for him. There's always some reason for him to yell at us.
I can imagine.
You know what it's like. We do too little, and it takes us too long, and what we eat's worth more than the work we've done, and it's no fun listening to that sort of shit day after day.
And the miller won't stick up for you. I would have thought all the yelling would drive him mad.
Not really. He trusts that loudmouth bastard more than us. He's got us down for a pair of parasites.
I see.
What's so stupid is the mill really needs us. They haven't had any hands here for quite a while, and the mill needs a lot of fixing. But with them around, we can't even get to work.
And you definitely don't... You don't ever provoke him?
I've already told you once, he's an arsehole. I'd say there's nothing we can do about it. If he wants to yell at us, he'll yell at us.
Have you tried talking with him?
What do you think? But that just sets him off. He starts saying we're practically bandits, and what he's going to do about it. That gets Fritz going, and he starts yelling too, and...
I'd never have guessed he's like that.
Well, get a job here as a hand, and you'll soon see.
And what does he do during the day? Does he work with you?
Good one. He keeps his eye on everything, but his hand only touches the saw when the miller shows up, which isn't that surprising.
Why?
The last time he did anything, he almost took his thumb off with a chisel. I wouldn't put an axe in those paws of his either.
So he's clumsy and arrogant. That's what you said about your last master, that Nimoy.
Aye, but at least you could sneak away from old Nimoy for a bit. No chance of that around here.
And what do you want to do about it? Just run away?
Actually, I'd like to stay here, at least for a bit. I never would have thought I'd like working in a mill, but not with him around. It's unbearable, and there's no one I can complain to. But you could.
Me? Do you think they'll listen to me?
They did once already, didn't they? They hired us because of you. You could have another word with them.
Back then, making promises was enough. Now, it will be worse.
You can forget about the miller. It's Thomas you need to convince. The miller takes his opinion seriously. So, will you do it for us? Again?
Fine. I'll try and...
I'm glad. But try not to get on his wrong side. You won't get anywhere with him then.
I'll keep that in mind. I'd like you to...
Certainly.
I'm interested.
Wouldn't you rather...
Well, I'll think.
See you later.
Hey, what a
Matthew told me your foreman's a fool, and you're not exactly filled with Christian love for him.
You better believe it. I'd like to pay him back for everything and drown him in the river.
Drown him? What's he done to you?
It was the first or the second day here. We had a disagreement and I told him off. And then, all of a sudden, we're fighting and that fucker just throws me in the river. I nearly drowned.
Well, how did you get out? I thought you couldn't swim.
I can't. They pulled me out. I was up to my waist in water.
I see. Well, I'd be pretty fucking angry too. So you want to pay him back?
Exactly. I don't give a shit about anything around here, but that bastard's in need of a good trouncing.
What about the others at the mill? Are they awful as well?
The miller's an old fool. He believes every word that comes out of Thomas's mouth. It's hopeless. And then there's the miller's daughter. She's a pretty lass, and kind with it. And what can she do? Nothing. Not that it stops Matthew going to see her. But Thomas is the root of the problem.
Do you think he's jealous? Is she a sweetheart?
He might make puppy dog eyes at her, but most of the time he just struts about like a peacock. I really don't think she's the problem.
And what do you want to do about it? Do you think you can come to an agreement?
No fucking chance. Matthew hopes so because he likes it here. It's true the work's better than the mines, but the play's worse.
So how do you plan on dealing with it?
Perhaps. But first, I want to give Thomas a proper trouncing. I mean a real thrashing.
And you think that will help?
Maybe. Maybe it'll knock some sense into that fat head of his. Or he'll be too frightened to mess with me.
That might help.
So why don't you arrange a fight with him? If we win, he'll leave us alone. Oh, we could...
What?
We could lure him off someplace far away and then wait for him. Maybe to play dice with Lawrence. He would have to go through the dark woods.
I'll think about it.
Take care.
My respects to you.
So what do you think about the workers I brought you?
If I hadn't put in a good word for them, the miller would have thrown them out by now.
I heard them say something else.
So they're complaining, are they? I provide for them, and all they do is slack off.
Isn't it the miller who provides for them?
He can't manage the work anymore. If it weren't for me, there'd be nothing left standing around here.
But you need the help anyways. And they're pretty handy.
Maybe, but they're in no danger of overworking themselves. They act like they're too good for the mill, and I saw them eyeing up Jane.
Nothing strange about that. She's a pretty girl, and she's of an age to marry.
It's not marriage they've got on their minds. They'd have their way with her, then before her belly started to grow, they'd have to run for the hills.
Look, we can reach an agreement. You need the mill fixed, they need the money. If they have peace to do their work, they'll be able to finish it faster.
But...
And then they'll take their groschen and leave. The mines will open again, and the faster they get their money, the quicker they'll be gone.
But do you really think I can trust them to do it? Will they do their work and leave? And leave Jane alone in the meantime?
Of course. They're not interested in the mill. They just need the coin to pay their debts. Once they've got enough, they'll have no reason to stay here.
I never thought we could sort it out this way.
I've known them for a long time, and you can rely on them when it comes to this. Everybody will be better off.
All right. If they keep their part of the bargain, I'll even give them a few extra groschen. But woe betide them if they don't. You can tell them that. Take care now. God be with you.
Good health to you.
Are you happy?
They're good carpenters, but someone constantly has to stand behind their backs and keep an eye on them.
Really?
Yes. When I'm there with them, everything goes smoothly. But the moment I leave, I hear Thomas yelling.
I've heard.
I don't know what I'd do without Thomas. He keeps an eye on everything for me now. The mill wouldn't function without him.
But Thomas has problems with carpentry.
You're right. You should hear him cursing when he has to turn his hand to it. He knows he'll never be a real miller.
What, just because of that?
No. He's not too skilled at handling the water wheel and the mill run either. He can wield a shovel well enough, but otherwise I have to keep telling him how to do things.
So he's not been foreman too long?
No. My son used to run the mill, but then his wagoner returned with him inside it. It'll be a year ago now, come spring.
I'm sorry.
Me too, boy. And after Martin was gone, the other workers left and only Thomas stayed. I don't know what I'd do without him.
What happened that day? Wagons don't overturn themselves.
He was transporting new stone blocks for the mill and he had to take a detour. Since the wagon was too heavy for the ford, it was after a downpour. The load must have slipped and the whole wagon fell on him. I pray it was quick.
So he was alone, with no one to help him?
Of course not. Thomas was there too. He helped Martin to load the wagon in Sassa, and both of them set off back.
Just the two of them? No one else was there?
No, they always did it that way. Martin didn't like dragging people where it wasn't necessary, when they could be doing work elsewhere. But if I had been there with them, maybe he'd still be alive. Thomas couldn't pull the wagon off him. He ran for help, but it was already too late.
I'm sorry, but I'm sure he's in God's kingdom now.
He was a good boy.
Have you been without carpenters for a while?
A long time. Since winter, it's been just me and Thomas.
Nobody stays around?
No. These days, it's hard to find a man you can rely on. Young lads today are bone idle. None of them wants to do an honest day's work.
And how many have actually worked here?
About half a dozen, maybe more. We always put up with them till the most urgent work was done, then sent them packing.
And what about Jane? Shouldn't she have a husband by now?
What are you trying to say?
A pretty girl like her is ripe for marriage.
With a large dowry because she comes from a mill? Well, she had herself a man once, but he ran away during the winter. He wasn't up to the work either.
And how long did he last?
You know, he was here for a while. But back then my son was a foreman and he was a kindly soul. Too kind. He never threw anyone out.
So everyone started leaving when Thomas took over?
Well, Thomas is a dog on slackers. And just as well. Maybe it's harsh, but that's what you need nowadays. If we don't mill, folk don't eat.
So the moment Thomas became mill foreman, everyone started running off? Not one man could stand it here, even if they had a chance to marry Jane. Don't you think Thomas might be doing it on purpose? Sounds to me like he's after the mill, or your daughter, or both.
That's not like him. He's a good man and straightforward. He knows I can always send for a new mill foreman.
And Jane?
Don't worry about her. She'll wed whoever I approve of, even Thomas if he asks for her hand. At least with him, I know he won't leave the mill.
Indeed, why would he, once he's got rid of everyone else?
That's enough. I don't know why you're trying to slander Thomas, but I don't mean to listen to it any longer. May the Lord...
I heard what you asked my father. You can't expect help from him. He's none too sharp these days.
And can you help me
No. Nobody listens to me. But I wanted to say that Thomas does do it on purpose. He did it the same way before.
Why?
Because he's afraid if someone comes who's more skilled, Father will notice and give his job to the newcomer.
And your father lets him? Can't he support?
He probably could, but he doesn't want to. My brother was the mill foreman before him, But last year a wagon overturned on him, broke his back. It broke my father too. And Thomas was here the longest. He was always close to my brother, so father chose him as the mill foreman.
And Thomas doesn't listen to anyone. Can't you persuade him?
No. He keeps looking my way and tries to be nice, but he doesn't care what I've got to say. When I tell him something, it goes in one ear and out the other.
And there's probably... What happened to your brother?
And what does that have to do with...
I don't know. You mentioned it, so I was just wondering.
There's not much to tell. A stone block that was loaded wrong, slippery ground after rain, and when the wagon overturned on him, there was no one around to help.
What do you mean, no one? Surely he wasn't alone.
No, he had Thomas with him. But Thomas couldn't lift the wagon off him, and by the time he found help it was too late. And as if that wasn't bad enough, someone robbed my brother while Thomas was looking for help.
Someone robbed him after he was dead?
I don't know. But they took a mottled scarf which I gave him as a keepsake. He laughed when I gave it to him. He said it would make him look like a fop. But he still wore it all the time. And someone must have thought it was worth stealing.
But who'd steal a scarf?
Why are you asking me? When they brought him back here, he didn't have it. That's all I know.
I'm sorry about what happened to him.
Me too. But it was his own fault. If he'd brought more people with him, he'd still be alive. He was too kind for his own good.
I understand.
I'm not talking to you anymore.
I heard you were with the miller's son when the wagon fell on him.
What of it?
I just heard some talk and I wanted to get the story straight from you.
Talk? From who?
I heard some gossip about it at the ale house. What happened? Was it really lightning that scared the horses?
What? No, there wasn't any storm. It was just the road was muddy, and so we rode closer to the edge of it.
It's a real stroke of bad luck, isn't it?
Tell me about it. If I'd been behind the wagon, it would have fallen on me too.
Why did only 2 of you go?
He always did it that way. But 2 people are enough for the trip, and if we needed an extra pair of hands, we could always find some local.
Except at the end. If there had been more of you, he might have survived.
Do you think I don't know that? I couldn't move the wagon on my own, so I went looking for help. We'd met a few travelers along the way, and I ran to find them, but it was too late. The weight of it crushed him while I was gone.
I'm sorry.
Me too. Me too. I didn't want to be the mill foreman, but the last thing he ever said to me, the very last thing he ever asked of me, was to take care of the mill.
And I heard someone robbed him.
Robbed? What kind of nonsense is that?
I heard he was missing something when they brought him back.
What? I don't remember anything.
He had a scarf with him.
Really? I don't know. Maybe he lost it on the way. Or it sank into the mud. Yes, that's probably it. It's still buried there somewhere.
Well, I hope he's resting in peace.
Amen.
About those...
It's a wonder I still let them hang around.
Oh, it's good that you...
Take care now.
I spoke with the miller's daughter.
It's a shame her father won't listen to her. She knows all about Thomas, but
Her father doesn't believe her.
he reckons it's just a woman's fancy. He probably thinks she's smitten with one of us. Not that I'd object, but she's a clever one. She'd make a better miller than either of those two. See you later.
Hey, how'd you get...
I still want to ask you more about... I spoke with him briefly and he does...
Then you ought to try working with him.
Vagabonds.
He's a sneaky bastard.
Slackers.
And arrogant. You should see how he puffs himself up when he's off to play dice with Lawrence.
Who's Lawrence? Another mill hand?
Aye, but at the neighbouring mill. They call him the Wren. Damned if I know why. Thomas goes there to play dice with him. God be with you.
Lawrence from Bodine sends word that he has some time at night and some groschen.
Lawrence from Budi. The Wren. You've had dealings with the miller Peshek.
Ah, you have it all mixed up. Peshek is from the Ratai mill.
Ah, you're right. I do have it mixed up. And Lawrence, you say?
Ah, the Wren, of course.
Ah, I must have misheard you. Yes, I'll definitely stop by. Take care now.
I heard you're as bad-tempered as a rabid dog, and twice as stupid.
What?
I heard you treat the new workers like shit and don't listen to anyone except yourself.
It's their fault. They're good-for-nothing slackers, and you watch your tongue or you'll get it in the mouth too.
Well, they weren't lying. You're all talk. Do you really want to try your luck?
One more word and you'll see.
We need to pick a place for the fight that isn't too public.
That's one thing we can agree about.
Do you have any idea where we could do it?
There's a place to the north of Ledechko we can go to after sunset. We won't be seen there, and most of the time it's empty.
Good. Above Ledechko then, at dusk.
Fine. And who will I be giving a pasting to?
Take your pick. There'll be 3 of us, and you can bring 2 of your friends as well, so there'll be more than enough to go around.
And why not? Do we have a deal then? No trying to get out of...
Agreed.
May the Lord watch over you.
Jesus, what are you be... Goodbye.
Hey,
I did it. I arranged to fight him just like you wanted. He had nothing against the idea. He'll bring 2 men, and the 3 of them will wait for us on the hill near Ledechko.
I wasn't expecting that. I thought he was too much of a coward.
So, how are we going to do it? Should we just meet there?
No, come and see me towards evening, and then we'll go. Oh, and perhaps you should let Matthew know. See you later.
God be with you.
Well, I spoke with him.
How did it go? Did you come to an agreement?
No. There's no talking to him.
What will we do now? I suppose we could just leave, but I don't want to as long as there's some coin to be earned here.
Oh, don't go running off just yet. Fritz and I have come up with a plan.
Shit. You want to trounce him, don't you?
We've arranged a fight to decide things. If we win, he'll leave you alone. If we lose, you'll be on your way.
Sakra! Well, I suppose we've got no other choice. There's no talking to that man. But I find it hard to believe he'll just leave us alone, even if we do win.
It will be us 3 against them 3. That's an honourable fight, and the better men will win.
If you say so. See you later.
Hey,
All right, I'm here.
it's still too early. God be with you. Glad to...
All right, I'm here.
So let's... Goodbye.
Well, maybe she'll get a bath in the ducking stool.
I wonder what Teresa's doing now. I could stop by and see her again. I enjoyed it last time. Nice to see such a good turnout. The more the merrier.
Arsehole. You won't think it's so funny in a minute.
I think you're fucking hilarious.
Enough horseshit. I didn't come here for a chat.
Just as well. You're not much of a conversationalist.
We gonna get on with this anytime soon?
Let's do it, Dopici!
That's that then.
Do you think it will be enough?
He's deaf.
True. You'll either stop or make life hell on earth for us.
So, anything else you need from...
No.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes.
Of course.
Ah, there's no need for that. I did it out of friendship. You can spend the coin on drinks at the tavern.
Thanks.
We really are in your debt now.
God be with you, Henry.
Huh?
Remember you were telling me you looked the house over to see what needed fixing after the winter?
Aye. I've been to see the carpenter about when he could get round to it.
Well, after talking to you, I went and had a good look around my own place. And now I'm sorry I did.
How's that?
The roof is only fit for firewood. Half the rafters are rotten on the north side, and on the south, the beetles have riddled them with holes.
Damnation! That's a nuisance.
It'll all have to be replaced. But at least the rest of the house is all right. Only that fucking roof.
That's some comfort, at least. Look out!
You look like something the cat dragged in.
Teresa, I brought you something.
My, Hal. How chivalrous. That's lovely. Thank you so much.
I've brought you something.
Oh, Hal. Is this for me? This must have cost you a fortune. But I like it very much, thank you. You really mustn't bring me any more gifts like that, or you'll spoil me.
Matthew and Fritz send their regards.
They survived. My God, I'm glad. They helped me out a lot. And where did you see them?
In Sasau. I bumped into them in front of the tavern. Where else?
And how are they doing?
They're doing fine. The monks brought them back to health. But they don't have work, and they're in debt. You wouldn't happen to know of any jobs going for two lazy carpenters?
Not here. And I think it will be the same in all of Ratai. It's overcrowded with refugees, and they're all looking for work.
That's bad. Those two need work badly. To keep them out of mischief. You know what they're like.
I do indeed. Try the mills in the smaller hamlets. The miller in the Dechko is old. Maybe he could use some strong hands.
I will. Thanks. Fancy doing something again?
I'd love to, Henry, but not just now. You've got to let a girl catch her breath now and then. Look at you.
How did things work out with the job I arranged?
You did what I asked, but still. Antonia is a widow now. Not all the coin in the world can help if God doesn't will it.
How about now? Fancy a walk to the town?
I can't now. Come. Henry.
How about now?
That sounds wonderful. Everyone says the Broken Wheel Tavern is the fun place to be in the evening. I want you to take me there.
Have you ever been to a tavern?
Me and my father used to stop at the tavern in the glade when he was taking the flour into town, but he never wanted to take me inside. What do you think, Hal? Shall we go?
Well, I don't see why not. But you'll have to try some ale while you're there.
I will, I promise.
Let's be going then.
Go to taverns a lot, do you?
Sometimes. If I want a proper meal, I have to. You wouldn't want to eat the stuff I cook.
That's true. I haven't forgotten that bet you made back in Skalitz that time.
Don't talk about those oat cakes. Fritz's belly heaves at the very mention, even now.
And that's where you go to woo wenches, is it?
Yeah, naturally. The taverns and baths are where the best ones gather.
You lout.
No need to take it the wrong way.
I'm not taking it any way at all.
It's all right. I'm only joking. I don't go picking up women in taverns. I prefer a different sort.
What sort might that be?
All mouth and green eyes.
You're such a...
Come on then. So, here we are. Shall we order something?
Yes, definitely.
Service?
Ah, a pair of lovebirds. What would you like to order?
Is it all right?
It's excellent.
This ale, there's no better in the province.
You know what?
What? What are you doing? Oh, no.
Oh.
But really?
Yes. Oh, come on, be brave.
No, I've never...
Hand on my hip.
I don't even know how.
And off we go.
But really, I don't know how.
You're doing just fine.
All right. Oh,
All right.
it's fine. Not so bad. You wore me out.
And you said you couldn't dance.
How about a dance with a real man?
How about you leave me alone and bother someone else?
Oh, come on. It's a crime to waste a body like that on a scrawny boy like him. You got tits like a cow in calf. That's it. I like a woman to fight before I fuck her. You'll pay for that, boy. Oh!
My hero. Does it hurt?
No, you should worry about the other fella. I'm fine. Ow!
Of course you are. That's why you wince every time I touch you. You saw him off, though. He wasn't feeling so playful after you'd finished with him.
That tickles.
Baby. So, you'll probably be fine. But try to give your hands some rest. Don't go lifting anything too heavy.
Thank you. Can I take you home?
You never give up. Are you sure you don't need a bit more rest? I can find my own way home.
I'll manage those few extra steps.
Come on then, hero.
I'll give you this. Nights out with you might be painful, but they're never boring.
I do my best.
Well, you should go in before Peshek starts fretting. Oh.
Henry.
Do you still feel...
Shall we play?
That's really what you...
I know it's a game for children, but I always liked it, and I won't feel stupid playing it with you.
All right, why not?
Good. Then follow me. Nobody will see us here in this barn.
Are you shy?
It's a game for little children. Of course I'm embarrassed.
Adults play it too, you know.
But only when they're drunk. I'll cover my eyes.
Well, they do say love is blind.
Cheeky boy. But this is a game you won't be winning. I've got ears sharper than bats.
And I'm as stealthy as a cat. You'll never find me.
We'll see. But if you leave the barn, you lose. Come here. Come on, spin me around. What are you waiting for?
Blind I may be, deaf I'm not. Make a sound, and you'll get got. How does it go after that?
It doesn't matter. Go and hide. I bet. Where are you? He doesn't look drunk. What was that? Was that you? Ha! Got you. Wait, I'll find you. You're a sneaky one. How come I didn't hear you? Oh no! We've got the clothes out to dry. We have to bring them in before they get soaked. Look out. Oh no, it's completely soaked.
You'll have to put it by the stove to dry.
No, that would just make it reek of smoke. Help me bring it to the house. It's sopping wet.
Not afraid of thunderstorms, are you?
Not anymore.
Shouldn't we spread the linen out?
Henry, hush now.
about that evening.
Ah, yes. I never thanked you properly for helping me with the laundry. That storm would have carried it off to God knows where.
Oh, I think you thanked me enough. But next time we should take shelter somewhere else. That hayseed gets into places it shouldn't, and itches like mad.
Henry, you donkey. You really know how to sweet-talk a girl, don't you? And anyway, what do you mean by next time? Just what exactly do you have in mind for the two of us?
Well, we'll be together, like a couple. And when the time comes, you'll take me as your husband, right?
You're full of yourself, aren't you? But that's not how things are done.
Well, obviously, under normal circumstances, I'd ask your pa for your hand, but...
Papa? Yes. He'd set the dogs on you. Now you'd have to get Uncle Peshek's blessing.
I reckon I'd have no better luck with him. Unless he saw a way to profit from it.
And I'd have a sack of flour for my dowry. But seriously, Henry, what kind of husband would you make? You can't sit still in one place for an hour at a time.
Well, I've got a lot of duties, but I'm very fond of you, you know. And maybe one day...
I know, you silly sod. We can't get married yet. But we can still see each other and be fond of each other.
I've got something that needs stitching up. Could you do it for me?
All right. I can't have you walking around in torn rags, can I? Show it here. I've got something. I hope you won't need them, but just in case.
Thank you. Wouldn't you like to take a stroll somewhere?
In this weather?